Hey, moron! Hey, moron! Dude! Look at me! I'm the waterboard, dude!
Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I hope everybody's having a great day. It is, of course, Sunday. And the interesting thing is, this, my friends, is the last week. This is the beginning of the last week we have without players actually in facilities working out. And actually, technically, we have players that are in facilities. The Baltimore Ravens actually have their rookies reported on Friday. Cowboys, of course, go to Oxnard on the 23rd, in which case they're going to have the first practice tentatively on the 25th or 26th. So we are literally right there. We're right there on the cusp. And I have to say, this has sucked this offseason. This is the worst offseason, at least for me. There's nothing to talk about. Let's be clear here. There's zero, zilch, zingo. Fortunately, NFL players, with the exception of an Eagle linebacker, haven't been getting in trouble this 6 weeks where you hold your breath and you hope that nobody gets injured or nobody gets into a car accident or ends up doing something stupid like, trying to run away from a lady of the evening without paying, okay? It's just been a desert here with news and so on. So there's very little to hold on to, but we do have a little taste here. And let me show you what I'm talking about here, because there's an all-pro, just last year, all-pro safety who's hinting that he would like to be with the Dallas Cowboys. Well, I think we can assume this. I don't know. I mean, he is definitely trying to get the attention of the Dallas Cowboys. Justin Simmons, who was recently released by the Denver Broncos, looking for a team. Now, the Denver Broncos, for everybody wanting to know what all in is, you could say that the Denver Broncos went all in because they looked and they said, we need a quarterback, because they haven't had one since Peyton Manning. And I can actually say when Peyton Manning was there that last year, he really wasn't much of a quarterback anymore. It was that defense that got them the Super Bowl. Be that as it may, they went out and at the best time made the best decision they could at getting a quarterback and trading for Russell Wilson, where they gave up multiple first-round picks as well as players. They even went out and they signed Randy Gregory from us, which, everybody looked and said, oh, my God, the Denver Broncos, that team, those guys, they're going to be a juggernaut. You're not going to be able to stop that offense. They already have the great defense. The AFC West is going to be incredible, only to see it crash and burn. And, of course, Russell Wilson was let go, leaving a big dead hit. Randy Gregory was there for about a year and a half, and literally you would have thought he was smoking a whole bunch of weed because he didn't do much on the field and has literally become a journeyman defensive end. In some regards, you have to look at the Cowboys, as much as we give them shit. When you look at what happened to the Jets last year when they went all in, when you look at the Commanders that every year seem to go all in, there aren't that many successes of going all in. There's the Tampa Bay. You could say the Eagles got to the Super Bowl. You can say the San Francisco 49ers getting there. But with that, that's a small percentage, because there's a lot of teams that go crazy in free agency. You could say New Orleans is another one that does. And it's not getting them any closer to a Super Bowl either. So from the standpoint of looking and saying, at the moment, would you rather be the Dallas Cowboys, whose biggest problem is, do we sign Dak Prescott, our quarterback? Do we sign CeeDee Lamb, who, led the league in receptions? Do we sign a young stud at defensive end? You can look at New Orleans, who was in worse cap shape than we were, who made big, bold moves trying to get guys left and right, who've had great players and guys like, Michael Thompson and Alvin Kamara and Drew Brees and things. And those guys, they ain't been to the Super Bowl since what, 2008? 2007? So from the grand scheme of things, I don't know which scheme is right. I don't. I honestly don't. Because they're not getting any better results than the Cowboys. But be that as it may, Justin Simmons, let me play the clip here because Justin Simmons posted on Twitter, he's having his youth camp, okay? His youth camp, right? Working with the people of tomorrow. He made this announcement on his channel, on his Twitter channel. Also posted, "Here we go." I don't know where you've heard that one before, but here we go was actually tweeted out there too about his camp. But let's take a look at what he had to say.
What's going on, everyone? Justin Simmons here for the annual.
Now, let me pause it for just a second here, okay? Let me pause it. You see the Dallas upside down hat. We all feel like we are upside down as far as the Cowboys go, which is perfect with this hat. But he is there. And what I want you to notice is, as he does this, how he zooms in on the top of his head.
Justin Simmons Foundation football camp. I have a few teammates here with me today. We're looking to have a great day. As you can see, the campers there in the background. There's still some people rolling up.
Okay.
Follow me for the day, and let's have
you see that, right? Okay. Now see, when I have my phone and stuff, and I'm doing this, there is the flip the camera around so you can actually pan around and you can actually see him, because as he brings the camera in closer, it's just bringing in like a beacon, like a neon sign, Dallas Cowboy. Let's look at it again. Let's watch it again.
What's going on, everyone? Justin Simmons here for the annual Justin Simmons Foundation football camp. I have a few teammates here with me today. We're looking to have a great day. As you can see, the campers there in the background. There's still some people rolling up. Follow me for the day, and let's have fun.
Yeah. So Justin Simmons is kind of hinting, who currently does not have a team. He was let go from the Broncos last year, and they ended up saying because he had an $18 million cap hit. They structured his contract. Here's the thing about it. He had a $62 million contract. Their people understand how to do contracts where you can get away from them without having a big dead hit, as opposed to the Dallas Cowboys, who made Dak Prescott's big hit the last year at 55 because they kept restructuring it. Justin Simmons, his number for 23 was only was $18.5 million. They let him go, and they took a dead money hit of only $3.7 million. $3.7 million. So from that standpoint of that $62 million contract that they wrote, they did okay. He was, again, last year, you can look at the numbers. He was second team All-Pro and a Pro Bowler last year, 70 tackles. It's come down a little bit from where he's had his peak, of course, of 97 back in 2018. He is getting a little bit older. Still ended up having 3 interceptions last year, 70 tackles, effective All-Pro safety out there who is currently unemployed. And so the first question you have to ask is, why am I bringing this up? Because we all know what the Dallas Cowboys are about, and that's about cheapness. And the Cowboys don't get excited, because we've had so many players that have used the Dallas Cowboys to get attention, to let people know, hey, I'm still alive. You put Dallas Cowboys in there, people wake up and say, oh, like people like me. We start talking and saying, oh, Justin Simmons wants to come here. And then it starts a buzz, and that maybe wake up some of the other teams and say, oh, man, Justin Simmons out there, man. The Cowboys might be interested. Let me make a move. We constantly get used by people to get attention. Or maybe he's just looking at it and saying, I'd really like to be a Dallas Cowboy. Now, you may ask, why in the world would he wear a Dallas Cowboy thing? Is he from Dallas? No, he's from Virginia. He's from Virginia, so it's not like this is anything that he's related to. Doesn't have family that works for the Cowboys or anything. So this is definitely a little bit of a message to try and say, hey, I'm here. Come get me. come get me. Where'd that come from? Where'd that come from? But we know that people do want to come to the Cowboys. I don't know why. Maybe it's to get paid and to be seen. Because as of lately, it's not about coming here for Super Bowls. So with this dry off season, the talking heads, they're not talking about the Cowboys very much. You know how I always go through and find a clip of First Take or Undisputed or, one of these shows, where they're literally just talking shit on the Cowboys. Can't find them right now. They're at least 4 or 5 days old. About the only thing I could find is Skip Bayless. And I hate to, this is how desperate and this is how bad this offseason has been. I got to use Skip Bayless. Here's what's kind of interesting is I kind of forgot about Skip Bayless. I don't know about you, but Skip Bayless is like an undisputed. Since Shannon Sharp has been gone, it's really tanked. As much as I love Michael Irvin and Keyshawn and stuff, the show just has no chemistry and And I think it actually goes down to Skip Bayless. Listening to his podcast, because, this is where I find it almost comical to me. Because I've had discussions with some of my brethren out there and stuff. And, when one of the talking heads all of a sudden starts doing YouTube, it's like, oh my God, man, they're on YouTube, man. How are we going to compete and stuff? And I always say it's not about what they do. It's about you figuring out what the next thing is. You must evolve because what they're going to be trying to do is doing the way we've been doing it and so forth. And you can see things that YouTubers have been doing that have now been adopted now by others. I will say that Vosh Lombardi and Law Nation were the first guys doing film breakdown. They were. Before Cowboys even had a YouTube channel. Then you started seeing the Brian Billingers and started doing it and things and all that. And now we literally see the Dallas Cowboys now doing film breakdown on UFL guys that they've just signed. They got that shit from us. So it's about figuring out what the next evolution is. And that's what I tell anybody who's asking me about YouTube. You must change and evolve because what you did before worked great in that time period. But things change, the dynamics change, the platform change, and people's attention spans, their mind needs to be fed with something different. So for Skip Bayless to come on and just say, I'm just going to be Skip Bayless, I'm going to sit here, I don't think that that's going to work that well because Skip Bayless, he has an interesting take here about that the Cowboys are trying to sabotage Dak Prescott, maybe to try and get him back cheaper, which, of course, would be a conspiracy theory that you could probably believe, as the Cowboys have done so little to actually help their quarterback. When you bring back an aging running back to replace a younger one who had a down year, you kind of question that. When you have a number one wide receiver under contract, you literally give him away for a 5th-round draft pick and you don't replace him. When you literally start a season with only one wide receiver that's actually had an NFL touchdown catch, some of those things do make sense. So because we are in this desert of lack of things to talk about, let's listen to Skip Bayless.
Disputed. And the first thing I do is I roll out of bed. I actually leap out of bed.
He leaps out of bed.
And I open up my laptop in fear of seeing this headline.
Fear of seeing.
Jerry Jones caves in and gives Dak 4 more years and $300 million, all of it guaranteed. That is my worst waking nightmare. No, Jerry, please, no. I'll say it again. I have seen enough of Dak Prescott, the quarterback. I like him personally. This is not personal. Seems like a great guy. Was the NFL Man of the Year. Got no problem with that. But I do have a problem with Dak as my quarterback. Been a lifelong Dallas Cowboy fan since I was 10 years of age. Dak Prescott is just good enough to lift my hopes every single season pretty high. Hopes that he ultimately shatters on a very regular basis. He's 2-5 in playoff games as Dak Prescott, including those 2 stinkers against San Francisco home and away, and that ultimate stinker last year at home against the youngest team in the NFL playoffs, the Green Bay Packers. I can't say it better than CeeDee Lamb's mom posted social media. Dak ain't it. He ain't. Look,
Okay.
maybe I'm spoiled. I got to know Roger Staubach really well. I got to watch him operate up close and personal. I got to watch him win 2 Super Bowls.
Isn't he so monotone?
I got to know Troy Aikman pretty well.
You mean
I
when
got
you
to
trashed him?
observe him very closely. I got to watch him win 3 Super Bowls. I know what those Super Bowls felt like, smelled like, tasted like. Dak ain't Roger. Dak ain't Troy. Dak is more of a Danny White, if you remember Danny following Roger Staubach for your longtime Cowboy faithful. Danny White got that team to 3 straight NFC championship games, but he just wasn't Roger. He couldn't get them over the hump into another Super Bowl. Heck, I'm not even sure Dak is Danny White.
Wow.
I am hoping against hope that Jerry Jones is prepared to let Dak play it out this season, the final year, of course, of his contract. So what? Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that Dak goes on this year and lifts and carries the Dallas Cowboys to a Super Bowl championship, their first in 30 years. That's fine. Let him walk.
That's fine.
Because
Let him walk.
I don't think he would walk. There's no state tax in Texas. If you're the Cowboy quarterback, you got it made in the shade when it comes to national TV commercials, post-game announcer chairs, thrones. See Troy, see Tony. No, I don't think Dak would walk after a Super Bowl. Jerry would have to pay him king's ransomly, but that's okay. I'd take him if he went and won a Super Bowl. Obviously, I would embrace him. I would cherish him. I would love him. But you know, and I know, that ain't going to happen with Dakota Rain Prescott. Rain is not spelled R-E-I-G-N for his middle name.
He is cold.
It's actually his first name, Rain Dakota Prescott. It's spelled more R-A-I-N than R-E-I-G-N. In fact, the more I've thought about it,
The more you thought about it,
it almost feels like all
Here's the
in
conspiracy
Jerry
theory.
Jones has actually been all out on this upcoming season and on his quarterback. It feels like Jerry Jones is making it impossibly hard on Dak Prescott. Like he's actually, Jerry, rigging this season to implode around Dak. It actually starting to feel like Jerry Jones is sabotaging whatever chance Dak would have to be very successful this year in hopes that the Cowboys would fall
so hold on for a second.
record-wise.
Just hear me out for a second. You are literally saying Dak Prescott's not it, and that's the reason we won't win. At the same time, you're saying that Jerry Jones is sabotaging him. If you're being sabotaged, then how do you expect them to win? I'll wait. How do you? How do you do that?
Into maybe a top 10 draft position within striking distance of Shedeur Sanders, which could also mean Deion Sanders as my next Dallas Cowboy head coach. in place of that bump on a log, Mike McCarthy. It just feels like sabotage.
Sabotage.
On ESPN.com the other day, did a very interesting analysis, breakdown, ratings of the top 25 NFL running backs, according to lots of NFL insiders. A top 10, followed by honorable mention, followed by also receiving votes. 25 straight running backs I went through without finding one name of one Dallas Cowboy running back. And I'm sitting back thinking to myself, the mighty franchise that gave us Calvin Hill, Dwayne.
He's 100% right on the whole, we are beyond the all in, and I just can't do skipping. I'm sorry. Like I said, this is desperate times, and it calls for desperate measures. But he does have a point, though, when you look at this and say, hey, here we go. We're going to take away, any of the weapons. We're going to let Tyron Smith walk. We're going to get two rookies to start. We're going to bring in Zeke Elliott, who's past his prime, and so on. But then again, knowing Dak will thrive and will make you, look and say, well, damn. Well, no, actually, you won't. Because when you look at how Dak has been handicapped so many times, and yet somehow they still make the playoffs, and still he gets the blame of not being a Super Bowl champion. They're asking too much of an individual. They just are. All right, good people. We will move on to the next subject of the day. Justin Simmons hinting about them boys as we sit 53 days until kickoff of the season. Peace out.